To introduce our next speaker, Claudia. She's a senior recruiting specialist at DSM Group. She has 20 years of experience in recruiting, and she will be talking about how important are and crucial soft skills. And I'm excited to hear what she will teach us today.
Thank you, Srinka. I will quickly share my screen, if it works. Okay, the only thing is, how would I get the presentation mode out? Because do you see the presentation, or do you see my the speakers on the right side too?
All good, Claudia.
All good, great, excellent. So welcome everybody, and it's great for me to have the chance to do this session with you and to talk about soft skills and why it will get you the right job. Why did I pick this topic? Because in my 23 years of recruiting, I was so many times confronted, especially from scientists, with the fact, oh, wow, I got a PhD, I got an MSc, what else do you need? This should be enough. And no, it's not. Why? Because there are many PhD people out there, there are many MSCs out there, or BScs, and the soft skills will get you the job. Not necessarily only the qualification. Of course, you need to be able on your technical skills, but it is, in the end, it's the soft skill that decides. A little bit about myself. Srinka already mentioned it. I have more than 20 years recruiting experience. Usually I come from public relations and communications, but at some point I decided to, switch into internal communications. And from there, this opened up the way to recruiting and talent acquisition. What are the topics to explore today? I want to talk about, of course, like mentioned, hard skills versus soft skills. Can I learn soft skills? And if so, why should I? And why you should know about your strengths and weaknesses, because this is really important, even if many don't think it is. And how you find out what soft skills are definitely required, or in fact required, if, like in every job ad, you read like team spirit and hands-on mentality and communicator and whatever. So let's move on to the first part. Difference between hard skills and soft skills. What you see here now is so-called Volt success profile, and we used it in recruiting for creating actually a job ad, not necessarily the job description, because this is available in a company, but you have to define the job ad. You have to decide on what is necessary for someone doing this job in the most proficient way. So you have hard skills on the left side, and you see the soft skills on the right side. The hard skills are knowledge and experience. This is everything you can learn in university, or this is you learn, you gain experience on your jobs. So what people know and what people have done. No problem with that. You can easily check it. You bring reports for that. This is, easy. But then it comes to soft skills. And what are soft skills? Soft skills are two parts. So one is your personality, and the other one are your competencies. So personality means who you are, and competence is what you can do. And there's a big difference. And when you look at this, you find, and I have to admit, also when you Google soft skills, it will all be messed up constantly. So they would mess up personality with competencies. And then it's hard to understand what's what and how would I deal with it. So when you take a look at the personality, you find curious, energetic, emotional quotient, being an introvert, extrovert, creative, reflected, whatever. You come to the competences, there you see being a team player, communicator, being flexible, being, persuasive, dealing with criticism, learning ability, and so on. And what you do is actually your personality, this is what you are, and your competences, this is what you can become. Let's take, for example, let's take curious. So when you're a curious person, this is a great part of your personality. How would you use it as a competence? If you invested in your research projects, for example, if you invested in market analysis because you're a market manager, or if you invested to increase your learning ability, then curiosity helps you a lot. If you are only nosy about what your teammates do in their private life, then maybe your curiosity could damage your life at work or also your personal life. I checked on Google, and actually Google tells me, or whatever, that those, oops, I'm sorry. Too much handwork here. Told me that like the emotional quotient, creative, persuasiveness, collaboration, and resilience are supposed to be the 5 most sought soft skills out there. I'm not really sure about that, honestly. I would disagree. So emotional quotient, yes. Creativity, yes. Persuasiveness, for me, it's always a little bit a negative touch. I'd rather say learning ability. I think learning ability is something really important because working today means to learn lifelong. It's not like you go to university and then you start working and then that's it. Because every single day asks you to develop yourself, to keep on learning, to move on, especially when you work in big corporations like ÖGMBT Group or DSM. So this is something one can talk about or discuss it if this really are the 5 top soft skills. Why you should know about your strengths and weaknesses. Those of you who have been to interviews with a recruiter might have come to the part where the recruiter asks you, and I don't know if many of us do. So tell me, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? And in the past, many candidates answered with, oh, my biggest weakness is I eat too much chocolate. Haha, it's not about this. It's not about, eating chocolate. Think about what are you good at, and where do you need to challenge yourself? Call it a weakness, yeah, but where do you need to challenge yourself, and where do you want to challenge yourself? This is also the next part. Why? Because each job requires different soft skills. And if you want to have a specific job, you would need to think first, is this the right job for me? Does the job offer me everything that drives me? And, oops, I'm sorry, too fast. And what working environment do I need to perform? Like I mentioned before, when you have a job like Eleanor, if you want to sit alone in your lab or in a room, then this is not the right job for you because you need to interact with many people. If you want to sit in a lab, if you want to dig in deep with your research, then this is something that drives you, and then you don't want to become a product manager or a market manager. So this is why you should think about your strengths and your weaknesses, because they really help you to find the place where in the end where you will be happy. And I think this is most important for us to be happy in our job, to like to go to work. Can you learn soft skills, and if so, should you? Well, your personality, no. You cannot learn any soft skills. You cannot learn to become curious. You cannot learn to be energetic if you're not. You cannot learn even to be structured if you're not. Competences, yes. Criticism, you can learn to deal with criticism. Sales management, leadership management, you can learn this. This is you would need some parts of your personality. So if you decide to go to sales, it will help you to be a communicative and extroverted person. But the sales competence you can learn. And so this is also something you should think about, and you should not be shy about thinking about it, because there is no good and bad. It's just a matter of the job, whatever I want to become, does it really fit my personality? it's when you look at job ads out there, I think it's really hard to find out what soft skills really are required. You see, like I mentioned before, you see like team spirit, hands-on mentality, open-minded. Sometimes you have the feeling the recruiter or the whoever sets up the job ad puts in everything without even thinking if this is really necessary. And I admit it's really hard to find out what you should do, what soft skills are required, and if it fits you. So I brought you one of our job ads, and the reason why this is also way old-fashioned and way too long is because we will change into DSM GmbH by 1st of July, and we will also have a new career page, and then everything will be different. So I'd have to go to a lot of restructuring if I gave our job as a new design. So we're still using this one, but it is for, in a modern world, it's even that is old-fashioned. But what you see here is like, we're looking for a scientist, food process engineering. So this is clear, right? So you should come from R&D and you should have a degree in food process engineering. But what else do we need? We need spirit of research for this role. We need curiosity and creativity as soft skills. And they are the most important qualities you should bring in for this role. And I would like to invite you, I hope you can read it on your screens. Take a bit of a time and read through this job ad, because this is what you should do. You should always read to the end. Take the time to check on the tasks there, which are, what you are asked for. And then take the time to read on not only, I just need an MSc and BSc in food process engineering, what else is asked for? And maybe I'd like to invite you, tell me what you think, what other soft skills would be really necessary to be successful in this role. I give you some minutes here. And I think, Trinka, we can then later on see that in the chat, or people can put their ideas in the chat.
Yes, they can write after they read the ad. Then they can write which soft skills they think would be necessary, and of course, in the chat, and then we will.
So if you have, I don't see the chat, Trinka. So I don't know.
I have an overview of the chat, so I will tell you when I see something coming up. Andrea says, here we have people writing. Andrea says, leadership skills to guide lab assistants. Then we have Carlotta, curiosity, team player, hands-on, eager to learn new thing, creativity, organized, communicative. Stella says, being communicative because of working closely with the R&D team. Sonia Hager, from Medical University, says curiosity, creativity, proactive team player, independent. Leila Futoy says communication skills to share ideas.
Yes, perfectly right. And probably one or two things that you would also need is, like, when you cooperate closely with our global R&D teams, you need to be also able to deal with conflict, and you need to be able to deal with criticism, because when it comes to technical discussions between R&D, this is probably what all of you experienced at university. this can be really tough, and you need to fight for your ideas. You are working in a team that researches on new products and new methodologies, and you need to fight for it and to stand up for it and explain it to other people. What you also need to know, is like you would need to be able to speak in, with public speaking. If you don't like to, if you get stage fright, then this is not a good job for you. And then of course, but this is, you see that with spirit of research, you need to be committed to the products and to the whole, this whole activity here, this research activity. But great, thank you very much, guys. So this is what I wanted to give to you is like, it's your path to make it. You decide where you wish to go, and take your time to give it a little bit of thinking when you apply next time, to make sure that you apply for jobs that fit your personality, that fit your competencies, or that offer you the chance to develop your competencies, and don't apply, right into the blue just because it only says scientist or product manager or biotechnology or pharmacy or whatever. This is not enough. Always take the time to read the job ad. This is my recommendation to you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Claudia, very much for clearing this in our mind, soft skills, hard skills, competences. Now I will open the Q&A session. I think everybody's excited for that, and you're welcome to ask any question in the chat. I will read it to Claudia. Claudia, you can see the chat now also?
I can also see it, yeah, but probably not all of it. Yeah.
No, I will read. I just, sometimes it's easier also that you read it yourself. And okay, we have Pradeepa Mohan from YLSA West is asking, while interviewing, what are negative traits you observe that prevents an applicant to be recruited? I will go one by one question because Pradeepa had 4 questions.
Mm-hmm. That prevents I see it. That prevents an applicant to be recruited. Well, like I said before, are there really negative traits? Well, sometimes. Usually, it's a matter of fact what job you apply for. I mean, a negative trait would be, for example, if you lock yourself off from everybody, right? If you are not willing to open up at least this is for our company, I have to say, if you don't open up to the recruiter and to the hiring manager, because all of us, we're really close teams, so all of us are on the first name basis, for example, from workers up to the board. And it's really important for us to get this team feeling, to know about each other, to know what bothers the other, and also to care for the other. And if you would kind of, shut yourself off from the interview, this wouldn't be helpful. Otherwise, no, there are no negative traits. I mean, if Eleanor would have been not as communicative as she was, she probably wouldn't have got the job. And for example, we hired a wonderful colleague in R&D recently, and he is perfect for this role. But he likes to dig in deep. He likes to have his peace and quiet for dealing with his research projects. He doesn't want to go out and deal with many stakeholders, and this is fair enough. Yeah, exactly. So Pradeepa is still asking, do Romer Labs provide training to develop this kind of skills? We have training modules for specific competencies as far as the job requires them to do. Yes, we have a training program, a training and development program that is defined with your manager as soon as you start there, and which is also evaluated on a yearly basis or 6-month basis.
Also, Pradeepa is asking, may she know the percentage of acceptance at Romer Labs for a job, let's say like product manager, lab-based research job, just to get an idea how competitive things are?
Percentage? You mean how many? If I understand,
if you get, for example, come in applications, and how many people the ratio, how many people do you hire?
So, for example, for the product manager, we're probably talking. I would need to go back to my recruiting system, but I think what I remember, we're talking probably 80 applications, and so one turned out to be the one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very important information. And then Carlotta is asking, do you still read motivation letters or only the CV?
This is a good no. I read motivational letters. I like them. The only thing is that many people who are, come from university, especially PhD, they understand the motivational letter like I think I heard it from you, Srinka, or when you apply at university, then you need to come up with a lot of details about your thesis or about your technical background. And so most of the motivational letters are too long for an application in industry. So please stick to one side maximum, not longer. And what I'm curious to learn about you in a motivational letter is, why are you interested in the company? Why are you interested in the job? And what do you think is what you can bring in best and what you expect to learn? This is what I want to read in this letter. And of course, as a non-scientist, the master's thesis is very hard for me to understand.
I understand. I mean, this, it's important. And then we have also a question from Roland Martsky from TU Wien. How do I best highlight my soft skills in my application in order to get invited to an interview in the first place?
When you look at the job ad, and this could also happen in the motivational letter, that you point out why your soft skills met one or two of the required tasks or of the requirements. And also connected with a little bit of a story. So just to write, I'm a big team player and I'm highly communicative might not be enough. Tell me why. Why do you think you're a team player? How did you prove that in your past life or in your past career? Or why do you like to communicate and how do you like to communicate? What makes it big fun for you?
Yes, exactly. It's not enough just to say, you can say anything, but you need to have a proof.
Take the time to involve it somehow in the requirements. This is also a recommendation of mine. When you apply for a role, always focus on what is required. Try to make the recruiter understand why you're the right person for this role, because you meet the requirements asked for in the job ad.
Yeah. Then we have from Dvani Korde, could you recommend ways to improve competencies when coming from a lab background?
A way to improve competencies. I think this is also a part about, knowing your strength and your challenges. And when you analyze yourself and you think, for example, most of you will have probably an internship or similar. And when you analyze yourself and you think back of, okay, where did I struggle? Why did I come into trouble with this or that, with like a situation or with people? And what would help me to get better, to be better next time, to get, be more sufficient next time. This is something where you can develop yourself. Thinking about probably let's take criticism, right? So none of us likes to be criticized, and it takes a lot to accept criticism. And sometimes you are lucky and you receive very structured criticism, but you also in industry, you will face situations where like a manager would just yell at you, like, you stupid idiot, how could you do that? We had that, right? And then you need to kind of step back. You need to get yourself down and move this person off, saying, please talk quietly to me. And then find out what's the critic all about and deal with it. And this is something that comes, with the situation and also with experience, with work experience and developing the mindset for it.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of people, for a lot of people, probably taking the criticism is always a challenge. But as you said, it comes with the experience.
And sales and leadership, of course, there are trainings available. You could either sign up for it yourself, or most companies offer them. We offer them too. So.
But as a scientist, if I can give my slight of input, I think scientists are also they get also criticism for their work at the group meetings and so on. So I think as a branch, we are already prepared a bit.
Something that I really figured in with recruiting scientists is that most of them, like 98%, have a very strong failure or very strong error culture. So they understand, if I make a mistake, I need to tell this. I need to point it out. I need to deal with it. I cannot hide it, because it can be dangerous, right? When you end up in chemical industry and you try to hide a mistake you made, then you could put other people in danger. And this is something very specific that comes with recruiting scientists. I didn't have that with any other, probably machinery also, but no other recruitings were like focusing so much on this and also bringing in some positive results. Yeah.
And then we have also another question from Evelyn Kogel-Gruber from IMC Krems. Is it a big problem if you are only a slightly outgoing person, but you have other soft skills for being a project manager?
For a project manager?
But and she says, but you have other soft skills for being a project manager, potentially, right?
I mean, if you shouldn't be a total introvert. As a project manager, you should be, interested in communicating with people. And if you constantly have to fight that on a daily basis, then this is not the right job for you. If you're like, I'm a little bit shy in the beginning, but the more I do it, the better I get, and then the more I can get out of myself and can communicate better, then why not? Of course, but I wouldn't recommend it for a total introvert.
Yes. and Roland Martsky from TU Wien has a very interesting question. He said, if I applied for two quite different positions within the same company, let's say scientist and a project manager, would you consider this someone who doesn't know what she wants? Or is this a sign of versatility of interest? So diverse interest and...
Just let me read it, sorry. Would I consider this someone who doesn't know what she wants? Yes, probably. Yeah. And if you apply for two roles, I would probably look at your CV, and then if it looks very good for one or the other role, I would probably get in touch with you and tell you a little bit about both roles and telling you why I would consider you rather for the one role than the other. Because sometimes it also could be that like there are parts that are interesting for you in one role and other parts that are interesting for you in the other role. and then you cannot decide. So it always depends also a little bit on your history before and also on your educational background. If I completely reject you, or most likely I would call you and talk to you about the opportunities in the company.
Okay, I think also from his side, I'm curious. So if somebody applies to 2 different positions in Erber Group, this application is obviously not discredited because you said you would contact the person. So it's not bad to apply to 3 different positions within the same company.
It's not bad. I just have to admit I have applications where people apply for 4 different roles and on different level. And if I, let's say as an MSc, if I apply for a lab technician role and I apply for a scientist, then something goes wrong, right? Then this looks rather desperate than well structured and thought through on your application, because the lab technician usually doesn't require a university degree and the scientist does. And what is it, what you feel, what you're ready for it, and what you want to do. And I think it's always important. Don't shoot out applications just because you're desperate to want a job, or then it's better you do something completely different. Then go to Pilla, whatever, work as a cashier, gain experience there on this other side, because it helps you developing other skills, than to apply for roles that don't fit your expertise and your educational background.
So one big lesson would be that we would need to be very self-aware to know which job fits us, right?
Yes, and of course you cannot always know upfront, because the job ads sometimes are really short, or they just, they're really short and they don't contain much information. And in this, if you apply on this, then ask directly in the motivational letter, or even call the recruiter if available, and ask them, hey, would I be a good fit for it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we have from Jose Manuel Cruz Rubio from University of Vienna a question about the CV. How creative, example, use of graphics, etc., can you get? Or is it best to have a very plain traditional CV? Okay, we are entering the CV spheres. It somehow always comes to CV.
Yeah, of course, but I have to admit it is also very important. And take a well decided mix between space and text. If you fill up a site with text, it is really exhausting for reading this. And I like to have, I like those CVs that have like one column on the left side where you see like the data, those skills, core experiences is listed, and then you have the in the middle part it shows your education, and then it shows your work experience with a little bit more than just not only the headline of the job or of the university degree or university you attend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have one question. I think partly you answered it already before with Eleonora, and I don't know if you can give us this information, but for example, if you can give us examples of questions you ask when you test, if you want to check like soft skills, or is it, as you said for Eleonora, we're just having a talk and that's it, and that's enough.
I can tell
you don't have like specific questions.
I can tell you about the technique I'm using. I'm using the behavioral interview style. This means I asked for things you have done how you dealt with situations in the past, presuming that you will deal with it in the future too, that you will do the same in the future. This is one technique of interviewing, and for me, it brought the best results.
Okay, and
it's like, for example, when we're talking about criticism, tell me about a role or about a situation where you were criticized, and how did you deal with it? What did you learn from it? How did it end up?
Yes, yeah. Okay, that's a good example, yeah. And okay. I would also have another question, I think I know already the answer, but like from your experience, what is the ratio of importance? I mean, maybe it's a bit tough question. What is the ratio of importance of hard skills and soft skills? But probably it depends also on the position.
Hard skills are definitely necessary. Like when we talked about Eleanor before, she wouldn't have gotten the job. She only got the job because she got the job because she had a life science degree, and because she had specific work experience, and then the rest was soft skills. So it's not. Of course, you need the technical background to be able to fulfill a job.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't see any more questions in the chat. I stimulate anyone if they want in the last moment. I don't know, Claudia, do you want to wrap up with something special? I would actually now I have it popped in my mind, which I was also curious. What are the things? So you have experience with life scientists applying to biotech job, and what are the things that frustrate you the most? when
frustrate me the most,
like with life scientists in interviews.
In interviews, okay. So one in the recruiting phase is like 3 pages of very narrow written motivational letter. This frustrates me because I don't have the time to read it. What frustrates me? If I have a person in front of me who doesn't show me passion for what he or she is doing, and who doesn't show any interest in the company itself. If I have someone in front of me who obviously didn't take the time to read up on the company he or she is applying for, then I'm like, hey, what is it what you want? Because you are applying for next step in your life. This is something that is important in your life. And you should make sure that the company you're applying at is something you really want to, that the values of this company fits your personal values, and that the products or services also fit into your lifestyle. This is really, and if I have someone in front of me who's like, gives me the impression, well, it doesn't matter if it's like Roma Labs or XYZ or ABC company, I just want a job, then that frustrates me.
The message or takeout is read about the company, because you're going to probably be asked at the interview a bit to, yeah.
Yes, and to me it's also a sign of Hausverstand. Like I wouldn't want to work for a company
exactly,
that
of course,
read up before. Yeah,
of course, you want a person who is motivated for the job, is interested how the company works, working atmosphere, culture, everything. What are the specific topics and areas of work of the company, and so on.
Yeah.
We have a question from Hannes Weingartman. He's a student of TU Graz. He said, I think that topic wasn't covered yet. What are the do's and don'ts about discussing salary?
Well, you don't raise the salary topic in the first interview, only if you're asked to. Why? Because in this stage, everyone presumes that it's all about the content of the job and not the side effects. I have to admit, I get a little bit puzzled when so in the interview, the candidates always then ask also, so what questions do you have for the hiring manager? And I get puzzled when then the candidate only asked about, okay, is there a parking lot? Is there a canteen? What are the working hours? Do you have to work overtime? Do you have to work on the weekend? This is like, hello, what about the content of the job? Because this is most important. And then we're talking about the environment.
Because and
of course, the environment will be covered in the second session, and it needs to be covered because it is important. Like what we said in with the soft skills, if you don't want to sit in in an open space office, for example, because you need your peace and quiet for being able to work, and then the company tells you, well, this is your future workspace, we'll need to think about if you really want to do that.
Yes, exactly.
But you wouldn't raise it in the first.
Not in the first interview. Yeah. And, okay, but how does a person go about it? In a way, how, like, can the person ask, well, what is my salary going to be? I think that kind of sentence is also a bit rough.
If it's really crucial for you to know it upfront, and then that you don't want to waste your time. And I have to admit, I do this with senior roles. I sometimes even call the candidate, and from my side, and I'm like, listen, I have a budget here from to, and would this cover your interests? Does this fit? But if it's really crucial for you to know how much you're going to earn, then either call the recruiter or mention it in the first round with the reason why you need to know this. It could easily be that, like, for example, you need to relocate from one country to the other, and you need to know what would be the salary to even think about, does it make sense to relocate for me now?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I would like to wrap up at the moment. If Claudia, do you want to add anything to the whole soft skills? Maybe we did not touch upon certain things, or?
Very happy to share this topic with you today. Really, I liked it a lot. And please, if anybody has one or the other question comes up to the mind, and only later, just email Srinka or I think Stella also, and they will let me know.
Yes, I mean, I want to
find me on LinkedIn and get in touch with me there directly.
Yes, exactly, and we can leave your LinkedIn contact in the chat. Also, I want to thank you, Claudia, for really giving us this opportunity to use your knowledge of over 20 years of recruiting, and we have the same wishes in the chat. The Abdel Rahman Yahya is saying, thanks a lot, Claudia. That's really inspiring talk, and we have a lot of thank you notes from everybody. So thank you, Claudia.